to The Buzz. Great to have your company this evening. Also to those viewers who are watching us globally via the West TV website, if you go to wtv.com.au/watch, you can catch us online. You don't just have to watch on the telly. I'd like to introduce my co-presenters this evening. Mr. Paul Cook, good evening to you.
Good evening. Don't forget, if you are watching us online, you can also watch us on the TV if you're in Perth on Channel 44.
That's a really good idea. And of course, Candice Barnes is here as well. Hello, Candy.
See some tweets this evening, people. Hashtag the buzz. Let's have a conversation. Get it going.
All right. If you're a fan of Big Brother, and lots of people are, don't worry, it's nothing to be ashamed of. There was a grand final happening last night, and not only did Ben take away $250,000, he also proposed to his boyfriend.
I took something into the house with me, and if I was evicted on day one, if I was told that I wasn't any good, I would have done this. Will you marry me?
Yes, well, that certainly created a little bit of controversy in Talkback Radio today. I was listening in and there was quite a few phone calls.
Controversy?
People who just weren't very impressed about that.
About what?
About
him proposing?
Well, about Channel 9 actually showing it. And
who cares?
They're exposing their kids to the gay lifestyle.
It's ridiculous. It's hardly the gay lifestyle. If not the gay lifestyle, pop into the Big Brother house and have a look at them both having a bit of canoodling.
There is in fact still a bit of controversy happening on Twitter at the moment. If you use the hashtag #Legalise_gay-marriage, you'll see some interesting tweets on there. I may just read out a couple. Logan says, "Our anthem claims we're free, yet so many are not. I think it's time you advance Australia."
Fair.
See what he did there? And I've got another one here as well.
Fair.
Ash Reynolds says, "I can't believe we live in a world where rapists have more parental rights than gays."
Is that true?
Well, to an extent, I reckon it might be.
Okay.
And of course, if you've got any kids watching this evening, please stick your fingers in their ears right now because I'm going to read it out how it's written. James P says, Justin's eyebrows says, "Ben proposing to his boyfriend is the reason Julia Gillard needs to fluff away."
Oh, I thought you were going to say it. You're insane.
I very nearly did, but I thought better of it at the very last moment. So hashtag legalise gay marriage if you want to check that out. Very entertaining there as well. We can also flick across to hashtag Melbourne Cup, which is trending at the moment. Did you see what was going on?
Had a look at some of the Melbourne Cup pictures. And have you ever been to a horse race?
Once.
I haven't been to one, but I've seen the pictures, whether it be the Perth Cup or the Melbourne Cup, and they're absolutely amazing. It looks like it basically is just a drunk, what's the word? Slutfest. They're drunk, they're rolling around, their body bits are falling out, and everybody...
There was actually a video as well, which we're not showing tonight, but you'll be able to find it if you go to the hashtag #MelbourneCup. And there's quite a few people quoting it at the moment. Even smh.com.au, the Sydney Morning Herald, says, "Aussies behaving badly. Melbourne Cup photos go global and shock the UK press." And in fact, there are some photos from The Guardian in the UK showing quite how naughty we all are at the Melbourne Cup.
Well, I can't imagine they're any better in England. I mean, let's face it, we're all from the same culture anyway, essentially. But it's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. And I wonder how these people feel the next day. Do they look at those pictures and go, oh,
how embarrassing.
or do they go, "I can't wait to do that again. That'll be great."
All right, moving right along. If you're a fan of video games, you'll be a big fan of all the latest ones that are coming out. Halo 4. Woo! But what about the old 8-bit games? You can't forget those. That's where we came from. It was our genesis. Let's play Angry Birds in 8-bit mode. I'd gladly pay 20 cents for that game.
That game took half an hour for us to load into the computer here at the Buzz via cassette. And it crashed about 4 times.
And we used an Epix fast loader to do it as well.
I don't even know what that is.
All right, let's go to Candice and get a recap of all the social media trends of the week.
recap, rehash, whatever you want to call it. One of the biggest trends that was certainly in Perth and around Australia this week was an unusual one, certainly one of the more unusual I've seen in a while. Hashtag activated almonds. If you're wondering what it was all about, it stemmed from a spread in the Sunday papers where TV chef Pete Evans was kind of quite forthcoming by revealing what is typically on his plate in a day, all his eating habits exposed.
Bullshit.
Well, you haven't heard what he's eating yet. Among the weird and wonderful things that cross his palate in a day include alkalized water, sprouted millet, and activated almonds. If you're wondering what these activated almonds supposedly are, apparently you soak them overnight in a little bit of salt, then bake them in an oven for about 24 hours on a really low heat, and apparently that starts the germination process, which apparently unlocks all of these nutrients, though a lot of people, as Jason quietly pointed out, have called bullshit and also called out Pete Evans for his pretentious, unusual eating habits. If you want to catch up on the history of that one, hashtag activated almonds. That certainly wasn't the only news in social media this week. If you're a Facebook user and you use the app on your iPhone, you would have been prompted to do an update this week. And among some of the new features are the ability to upload multiple photos at once, so it's a lot easier to do that now. And we can also message and chat with our friends a lot easier than we could just by swiping to the left. If you're in the United States, however, you've got a fantastic new feature called Facebook Gifts, which was hinted at in a blog post a couple of weeks ago. It's now a reality. And so basically what it all means is if you've got if you have one friend on Facebook, as many of us sometimes do, you can actually send them a physical gift at the click of a button. Absolutely mind-blowing. And if we have any people in the United States currently watching, then please feel free to send us a present. That's all good. Staying in the United States, and of course the social media world was swept up in the US election fever. The hashtag I voted was trending pretty much everywhere, though it did cause some problems on formats such as Facebook and Instagram, where people were taking pictures of themselves with their ballot papers, which is quite a serious offence in a lot of states. Not a good idea. Barack Obama, of course, won, as we all know by now, becoming the first president to declare victory by Twitter. That very tweet, basically a thank you to everyone, was retweeted 100,000 times in less than 10 minutes. If you think that's impressive, his next tweet also went viral. It was a picture of him hugging his wife, First Lady Michelle, and that went viral with more than 700,000 people sharing it through their networks, and liked by 3.6 million people on Facebook. Not everyone was happy with the results, some declaring they'd moved to Australia by tweet. Donald Trump erupted into a lengthy, amusing rant about marching on Washington to rectify this tragedy, or whatever he called it, though others were quite pleased with the result, as you'll see.
This is my first time really going out there. I've been voting, but I've never taken the initiative to go out and knock on doors and tell people to get going.
If Obama doesn't win and I didn't help, I wouldn't be able to live with myself.
Got to keep it going. We got to keep it going for 4 more years. We have to. We have to do it.
Well, look, I have to admit, Paul, I'm a big fan of Obama, and I think that the campaign that he ran this time around was phenomenal.
What do you like? We seem to have a lot of fanboys in this country of Obama. What is it in particular that you find striking? I mean, I can't help but think his foreign policy has really been a disappointment. He's really let the world down.
Least bad option.
What?
Look
Building
look
lots
at
of
Romney.
drones
I mean, really.
and bombing innocent civilians is the least bad option.
Absolutely hear you. But what was the alternative?
Well, the alternative is to go and maybe not bomb people and have peace.
Well, that's absolutely the truth. But in this instance, the alternative was Mitt Romney.
Oh, yeah, well, you know, I don't know. I mean, maybe on a national level, if you're a United States citizen, there was definitely some benefits to having Obama over Romney from our perspective and how we see things. But certainly on an international scale, I don't know whether we're going to see a whole lot of difference between the two.
So, well, let's talk about the campaign websites then. What was the difference between them? Were they both good?
Well, this is the thing. One of the things that we have here in Australia is compulsory voting. And one of the reasons we have compulsory voting is because what it does is it keeps the fringe elements at bay and stops them, I guess, stockpiling people to come in and vote to get a particular issue forward. Whereas in America, of course, they don't have compulsory voting. So part of the
But
process...
that means that's why only 1/3 of the population turn out.
Well, absolutely. So part of the process, whether it be for the actual contenders themselves or for or the government in general is encouraging people to vote. And one of the things I noticed is there's a huge campaign. A lot of time is spent on, if we look at Obama's website, the way it's laid out, it's all very blue. It's got a few tweets and a couple of videos. Then we look at Mitt Romney's website, and to me, and when I was looking at the various Twitter accounts and various other things, it's the same blues and reds and the same colours. It's very homogenised.
But patriotic.
Well, patriotic, but it's kind of like an advertisement for a restaurant. It's like, come and use this, come and buy into our democracy. It's kind of like they're selling you the product first, and then you get to choose between two things. And there's a lot of stuff you miss, as in independent players and other people standing for the Senate who are part of the Republicans or the Democrats.
I think that's one of the things a lot of people don't realise is that there wasn't just 2 presidential candidates. There was actually quite a few.
That's right, but you wouldn't know that
no.
from outside unless you were, I guess, in the state and close to state politics. And the money that these two have amassed makes it just seems a little too clean and a little too contrite for my liking.
You think it's all just one big party with...
I think it is.
Well, that's certainly one way of doing it. Now, folks, we'd like you to join us here on The Buzz. Use hashtag TheBuzz on Twitter, or you can go on our Facebook page. Just search for The Buzz on Facebook. Are there any other social media ways that we can communicate?
Bebo, MySpace, SoundCloud. Download the audio of the program, pop it on SoundCloud.
LinkedIn, maybe. Yeah, any of those.
LinkedIn.
Look, we want to have a conversation with you. The show is live and local, no scripts, no auto cues, just the 3 of us coming at you live. We would like to see your tweets, so bring it on, and we might even read some out after the break.